Well, that sounds like coercion to me. So again, I looked up the Nuremberg Code because the world got together after the Nazi atrocities and the Nuremberg trials, at which I might add several senior Nazi doctors were hung for their experimenting on helpless captive people such as Jews, gypsies, etc. And following that, the Nuremberg Code was produced. And whilst it hasn't been signed by every country in the world, it hasn't been signed by any of them. It's not that sort of international treaty, but it's an accepted code and Australia accepts it. And we know that the COVID vaccine rollout was an experiment. Greg Hunt admitted that.
That it developed, and the world doesn't know that answer. The world is engaged in the largest clinical trial, the largest global vaccination trial ever.
So here's what the Nuremberg Code says about experiments. The voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential. So that's the first bit. And this means that the person involved should have legal capacity to give consent, should be so situated as to be able to exercise free power of choice without the intervention of any element of force, fraud, deceit, duress, etc. So no coercion of any kind is what the Nuremberg Code says. Now, I noticed that the government and the consent guidelines took out the any kind bit and put in undue. So they fraudulently misrepresented what the ethical position was there. And they said doctors could coerce patients provided they didn't do it unduly. Well, the Nuremberg doesn't say that.
What does that mean, undue?
To get out of jail card, isn't it? Whereas
it's not going to
the
stand
Nuremberg
up.
Code says without coercion of any kind. Well, you tell me whether no jab, no job was coercion of any kind. You tell me whether pepper spray or locking up in your house or getting PCR tests up your nose every time you went to work or being locked up while the rest of the public is allowed out again sounds a bit coercive to me.
If you're not vaccinated, it's going to be very, very hard to maintain a job, to be able to go anywhere. People having weddings are going to have to weed out the unvaccinated. The pubs and the clubs are going to have to, find out whether people are vaccinated before they allow them in. Otherwise, their businesses will go bankrupt.